is up, guys? It's your boy J to the C from J to the C Productions, and welcome to Friday Night Fright Night. Now, I've just watched The Green Inferno by Eli Roth, and it's your typical Eli Roth style film. Plenty of blood and guts, plenty of bad acting, and plenty of horror character cliches that you just cannot relate to. Now, I'm not saying it's a bad film. I actually quite liked it. There were certain elements I thought, you know what, the boy's done good there. I'm going to give him props. Unfortunately, with those elements also came elements what may just scratch your head and go, I'm not quite sure why you put this in. It's for comic relief, but we don't really need it. So yeah. One thing I liked about the film was the plot. The plot is ridiculously simple and easy to follow. It's basically a bunch of do-gooders go to the Amazon, do their good deed, plane crashes, get chased by cannibals. That is it. There's no more to it than that. It really takes you back to the simpler time of the Grindhouse and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre type of films. You know exactly what you're going to get. There's nothing else to it. There's no mad plot twist. There's no turns that you need to keep an eye on. It's all very straightforward. The film itself is about an hour 40 long. The first hour is a build-up hour. It basically builds up your main character and how she's going to get over to the Amazon and help out these tribes and stop the construction companies. It is quite heavy going and it's actually quite boring. The reason it's quite boring is because the characters are so cliche and the acting is certainly not great. I'm sure the actors and actresses are actually probably pretty good outside of this film. It's just because I feel the characters are so um, unrelatable. I'm sure they probably just found it hard to get into that role and get into that mindset. I mean, Alexandra, who's the lead of the Good Deeders, as I'm going to call him, he's very much, yes, my name is Alexandra, I play guitar and I'm going to go and save the tribes and all this sort of stuff. I don't know what accent that is, by the way. But it's that sort of vibe. It's very cliche. And then you've got a gingerhead kid who's a stoner who actually I didn't realise it at the time, but it's the actor who plays him is the same kid that plays the young boy in Spy Kids. Didn't know that. I knew I recognised him, didn't realise it until I actually saw the film and looked it up that that's where he was from. Then you've got a big guy who's obviously a gentle giant and he's a bit overweight and he fancies the main lead, so he's always trying to talk to her and trying to impress her. Then you've got the balding, beardy guy who's the kind sort of guy. It is all very, very cliche. After the first hour, that's when they head over into the Amazon, and that's when stuff actually starts happening. The first scene when they're doing their good deed. Now, I don't want to give away any spoilers. I really want you guys to go off and watch this film yourselves and give me your feedback. If you agree with what I'm saying here, let me know in the comments below. But they get into it, and this first scene when they do their good deed is actually probably the best scene of the entire film for me. The suspense that's built up into it is really good, and it's actually really well acted. Considering the fact I've just said the acting was pretty shit, this scene actually did really, really well. So I was actually impressed. And then when it leads on from there, and they have the Amazon plane crash, that's quite a well shot scene. Again, the crash itself, there's lots of rolling around, very action packed. Some dude throws up on himself. That's one little spoiler for you. It was quite funny, but that bit was good. And then we enter the cannibals, and that's when obviously this film kind of takes on the gore factor. Now, Eli Roth is a king of gore. We all know that. But he goes above and beyond on this film. He really does. There is so much gore. It's ridiculous. His gore budget must have been up here. I think his acting budget was here and his gore budget was up there. You know, it's proper huge. The opening scene with the cannibals, I don't want to give away any spoilers, as I say, but it's hard not to. You can imagine what's going to happen with cannibals when they get someone. Uh, it basically goes on. There's a lot of screaming, there's a lot of shouting, there's a lot of big dramatic music and bum 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 bum, all that sort of stuff, and you kind of like you're really getting into it, and you can kind of feel the fear a little bit. And again, it's actually well acted at that moment. All of a sudden, though, it cuts away from all of that, and it goes to a bunch of women in a kitchen preparing his body for dinner, and it's silent. And you know what? It was actually made me laugh. It actually was quite funny because all I could picture was like my mum, my auntie, my gran, and my sister all in the kitchen doing Christmas dinner. And they go, "Have you peeled them spuds yet?" It was really that sort of vibe. I don't know if it was meant to be funny, but I actually found that bit quite amusing. And this is where we then move on to the silliness of this film. There are certain scenes they put in there which they really shouldn't have put in there. They were put in for comedy relief, and they didn't belong in the film. One scene that went in there is one of the young girls, they're in the cage waiting to be eaten, and she says, "Oh, I'm sick." They all say, "Oh, we're all sick." She says, "No, I'm really sick. I need a bathroom." She then goes to the corner of the cage and has the biggest spell of diarrhea on the motion picture history. It's quite funny. All the kids are all around there laughing and going, "Hey, stinky ass bitch," and all this sort of stuff. I obviously didn't say that, but I'm sure if the translator watched the film, he would say that is what they were saying. Um, but it was an element of comedy. I laughed because I'm immature, but it wasn't wanted, that scene. It was that whole scene should have been them worried about this is their impending doom. We're talking about, are they going to escape? Are they going to all be eaten and killed? You know, it's really that side, putting that scene in there kind of ruined the flow. And from there, a couple of other scenes kind of followed on from there and made it a bit silly. The end of the film, again, is quite cliche. I'm sure you can probably guess what happens. I'm not going to go into it because, again, I want you guys to see this film. Um, but it kind of finishes how I expected it to finish. There was no main plot twist. The acting didn't get any better. Um, it was just one of them things. It just kind of petered out and finished the end. It really was as simple as that. I'm going to give this film 3 out of 5 stars. It's not the best film you're going to see, but it certainly isn't the worst. And that's it for this edition of Friday Night Fright Night. I hope you've enjoyed it. Drop me a comment below. Let me know what you think. If you agree with me, if you don't agree with me, it'd be great to have your guys' feedback. Also, do me a favour and slap the like button across the face and fist button to subscribe, just so I can keep this content coming to you. Friday Night Friday Night is something I want to do every single week. If you have any ideas for movies you want to hear me review, then just drop me a message below and I'll see what we can do to get it on the channel. Anyway, guys, thanks very much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll catch you on the flip side.